podcast. This is chapter 50. It is November 23rd, and I'm your host. My name is Steph, and we're just gonna start with the socials. You can find me on Instagram. My personal account is LuluisCrazy, but the podcast account is a Traveling Knitter podcast. And we do have a Ravelry group. I saw some new members, so thank you for joining the sort of not really doing anything group. I've decided to put my show notes there though, so yeah, so that's going in there. But yeah, so we have the podcast group on Ravelry, and what else? Instagram, Ravelry. Oh, on Ravelry, I'm LuluisCrazy, and Goodreads, since I do talk about books, I am /Steph Massard. So all that information will be somewhere on the screen for you, but typically I end the podcast with that, but today I'm going to do it at the beginning. So we're in a bit of a different angle. That is the hallway-ish. That's how you get out of this room. So the light is like glaring into my face and I can see it in my glasses. So we're going to do the intro, and then I'm going to look at this and just see if this looks okay, because I can say that this is real annoying. Like, it's very annoying with the lights, which I'll probably just change it anyway because it's like there's a glare. So yeah, November 23rd, not typically, but it's a thing. So I live in Ohio. I live in Dayton, Ohio. For those of you that are new, that have never watched my podcast before, that is where I'm podcasting to you from. I am in my craft room, which I'll talk about later, but I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss my craft room. I don't know where all my crafts are gonna go because they are not leaving my life, but the craft room is, sadly. Unless there's a miracle and I can afford a 2-bedroom apartment in Columbus. Right now it's not looking like I can. We'll talk about this later. But yeah, so I have quite a lot of stuff to talk about this episode. Hopefully it won't be super long. My goal, let's say right now, my goal is under 45 minutes. So let's just jump right into it, and I'm actually going to check the footage now. Okay, so the light wasn't terrible, but I moved it off to the side because it was just in my eyes. So now you're gonna see it right here on my right sunglasses, on my right glasses, but honestly, we're just gonna have to live with it. I think I only have 5 days of contacts left, so I need to buy more, and I need to do that before my insurance switches over, because my vision insurance at my new company is not as good as the vision insurance at my old company. Yeah, I got a new job, so again, we'll do all this at the end. You're here for knitting, I believe, or just general crafting, because that is what this podcast is. I normally don't introduce what this podcast is, but the name is a traveling knitter, so I feel like it's just speaks for itself, but I could be wrong. Before we get into the podcast, I scooted up so yeah, I can't see it as much. I want to introduce my shirt. Ooh, I almost fell. Okay. Yes. It says Disney Princess, so I could. Well, it says I wish I could be a Disney princess, so I could, and then it's just not lines, but if I'll sit back down, so I'll stop flashing my boobs. But so I watch on YouTube the Try Guys. I'm a big fan of the Try Guys. I laugh every single time I watch one of their videos. I love it, and I'm constantly like asking other people if they've seen the Try Guys or have heard of the Try Guys when they're on BuzzFeed now, venturing on their own. And when I say now, I think they did that a year or two ago. But Keith Habisberger is one of the 4 members in Try Guys, and he has a music comedy group called Lou Burger, and I went to one of their shows. I talked about that in my last podcast, and I did purchase one of their shirts, and I felt like wearing it today. Yeah, so if you like comedy music, I don't know if that's what it would be called, like comedy music group. If you like Weird Al Yankovic, if you like The Lonely Island, I know those are like two sides of the comedy spectrum. Personally, I like Lonely Island more than Weird Al, if that tells you anything about my sense of humor. But if you see this, I was like, oh, let me use this eyeshadow for highlighter, and then I just took it everywhere. So, and I was too lazy to take it off of my face. So that's, if you see light right here, that is eyeshadow that I didn't wash off my face. Okay, yeah, so that's what my shirt is, and I love it, and I'm wearing a sweater because it's cold. I keep my apartment fairly cold. I like to sleep with it. I like sleeping like in the freezing cold and then having just a pile of blankets, and I've just kept my apartment at that because I'm not here now. Okay, it's been almost 10 minutes, I think, of me just blabbing. So, okay. Let's talk about completed quests, because there are two. There are two. So we'll start off with the most exciting thing. My Threshold sweater by Melanie Berg is finished. And not just finished, she's blocked and the ends are woven in. And here it is. Oh, I love it. I will say the color I wouldn't pick this color again, but I'm not disappointed in the color. It looks just fine. I have worn this 2 times in public, 1 time just around my house. That was right when I finished blocking and weaving in all the ends. I love this thing. It is awesome. So it ended up, so while I was knitting it, I think I talked about this several times during episodes. I was concerned that the neckline would not be wide enough, but as you can see, it blocked out great, and it wears very much like the picture. So my shoulder, this goes over my shoulder. One thing to note, I'm not really sure why it does this. Maybe I just need to close in one of the sides. I need to close it in a little bit more, but this side hangs further, so it doesn't sit centered, it's not a big deal, but I do notice it. So I'm thinking, and also too, so you can see this strand right here. I think I might just close it a little bit more, and hopefully then they're even. And then also, so there's no short rows or anything in here, so I think that's probably what my problem is, but the neckline, it just hits me right up here, and throughout the day, like at work, I just kept pulling it down and pulling it away from my neck, because it was just, like, it wasn't surrounding my neck, it was just right here, so you just got this slight pressure, which just got a little annoying. So I love the way it looks, but I wish that this was dropped a little bit more so that it just wasn't touching my neck the whole time. It's the only annoyance. Well, a slight annoyance. It's already pilling. As I said, I've worn it 2 times in public and 1 time around the house, and it's already pilling. So, that's a little bit annoying. Nothing major, but I mean, there's pills on it already. Oh well. I would knit with this yarn again. It is Quince & Company Chickadee in the Glacier colorway. Fun fact, where is my little baby? There it is. I used 7 skeins, and I had 4 grams left over. I did knit the sleeves longer than I was supposed to, but not by much. Not really. I knit this part longer, and then, yeah, that's the only thing I knit longer was the ribbing. I knit the smallest size, which was for a bust 32, and then I did knit the sleeve, like armhole. So I meant to knit I think the next one was a 36, and I don't know what happened, but I wasn't able to pick up the same, like the correct amount that I wanted to. And so it ended up being like a hybrid between the 32 and the 36. I am happy I did that because this fits perfect. It's perfect. And if I had done the 32, I think I would be, I think you'd be losing an inch and then another inch on the other side. So not that I highly recommend that, but it's not that I have small or large arms. I'll take my sweater off, right? Like it's not that that's big, and I don't think that's big. I don't know why I'm doing that, but like, I feel like I'm proportionate, right? I don't think it's big, but for whatever reason, I find that a lot of sweater patterns, my arms are like sausaged inside. So I went up and I did the same thing. So of the 3 sweaters I've made, 2 of them I've done that, where I've gone up to the next size just for the arms. So it worked out completely fine for mine. And it does have a split hem. I think it turned out really nice. It's flat. The blocking on this was just so nice. I love it. There's only a couple mistakes. One that I see that really irritates me is I messed up on the ribbing in the back. 1 purl stitch on a twisted knit stitch. So that is irritating me. Yeah, that does annoy me that's there. But at least it's on the back. And also I think as a suggestion, so let me look at okay, so the top of the sweater, I can't remember if it says to do this in the pattern or not, but you do start with the wrapped stitches around where they connect. You don't do that on the sleeve. And on the hem, you do wrap them at the end. I can't remember if I did that on purpose or if that was what was written in the pattern, but in the pattern, it doesn't have you do that for the sleeve. I don't like that. I wish I had done the wrapped because it gaps. So there's like you can see it actually on camera, even this far away. It does gap and there's a bit of a hole. So, just like cables do that. So I wish I had noticed that or thought about that when I was knitting this. I did knit longer on the sleeves. The sleeve is a tad too long. So what ends up happening is I pull this up and then this gets lost, which is kind of disappointing. But other than that, I love it. It fits so good, so well. And this looks like something I could have bought at the store. I think it's beautiful. The texture it's so even, and I love it. I might even like this more than my Zweig. I think with the Zweig, I wish it was longer and I wish my sleeves were tighter. But now I know that. So the next time I knit another sweater, I know that I want to make those tighter and not looser. The second finished object, whoa, that was my rotary cutter. Oh, for once I actually had the safety on. The first time I ever used a rotary cutter, I cut myself. I just didn't realize how sharp those things are. Okay, so the next thing I finished is a hat. This is quite crazy. I believe, not I believe, but I know. This is another donation hat. Yes, the ends are not woven in, but I feel okay about this because I wove in all the ends. The last 2 weeks, I wove in every single end on all the hats that I just had sitting around, plus the sweater, and half of the ends on the Spice Market shawl, which has so many ends. So I feel okay with this because I wove a lot of ends in. Okay, so this hat, this is my show notes are right there. This is the Eyelet Tweed Beanie by Linda Medina, and I used, no, this isn't all ribbing. This is ribbing right here, and then let me put my hand in there. There, you can kind of see the holes when I lift the back up, but this part right here is just like this. And this was a very interesting stitch pattern. It is really crazy with the yarn that I chose, but it's Red Heart. I'm just trying to get through my acrylic stash. This pattern is in this book, 60 Quick Knits for Beginners. I love these books. I'm a big fan of them. I have almost all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 of them. There are a couple more, and I just want to collect them all. So a lot of the ones I don't have, it's the baby toy. I don't have the baby toys. I don't have the quick knits for little kids. I don't think I have the cotton one because I don't like knitting with cotton. And then I don't have all the blanket ones. So yeah, there's a couple more that I would like. But let me find the pattern picture for you because I think you can just visualize it better. So there it is. I think it's really pretty. It's very pretty. So there's a pom-pom on this one. If I have enough yarn left over, I will add a pom-pom. If I don't, I'm thinking that I might just see if I have, well, I know I have more black. So if I end up not having any extra yarn of this, then I will put a black pom-pom on this because I think it does need a pom-pom. Plus, it's a donation hat, and sometimes donation hats can just be so boring. So I'm just knitting all these random hat patterns, and I'm really enjoying it. So here's another one. And so obviously that hat is finished, so you're probably wondering, well, don't you know if you have yarn left over? No, because I immediately cast on another hat. It is in my market bag tote that is where I keep all of the random acrylic yarns that I'm knitting with to make more hats to donate. And I am this time knitting, it is another hat out of this book, and it's very, very simple. Honestly, you don't really need a pattern for it, but it is the Ribbed Watch Cap by Pat Olsky. Right there. So it is literally just 2x2 ribbing. And then it decreases pretty quickly. And yeah, so you don't even have to change knitting needles. The brim and the hat are the same. There's no distinction. And here's what I have so far. I did not cast on as many as the pattern calls for because I am knitting it with a little bit heavier yarn, and a lot of the hats I've been knitting are adult sized, so I figured I should probably make some for kids. So here is my Red Heart Crazy yarn, and it is swirling. It's making a swirly effect. There's definitely enough to finish this hat. But I just really, pom-poms end up eating a lot more yarn than you realize. Red Heart, not my favorite thing to knit with. my hands just feel dirty, and I don't have dry hands. I'm not plagued with dry skin. I'm plagued with oily skin, which is, in the winter, my skin does the best because the moisture is sucked out. So then I'm left with only slightly oily skin. So my hands don't really get dry unless I'm visiting my parents in Chicago. I don't know what it is about being at their house, but it's about the only time where my skin thirsts for a moisturizer. Very strange. So I don't know, but I don't have a big problem with knitting with Red Heart, but I feel like if my hands were not, like if my hands were dry, this would be a nightmare. I'm knitting these on my ChiaoGoo interchangeables. I am loving the purchase of these. Big fan, loving them. And yeah, so this is one work in progress. I have not put a dent in the 2 socks that I started. So the Find Your Way and my Gladys socks, neither of them had any work on them because I cast on another sweater. Here it is! It's my weekender! Look at all that progress! So here it is. It is a split hem. I'm loving split hems. Big fan. There, you can see it. So there's the split hem, there's the front. Wow, wrong. There's the back and the front. So this is Weekender by Andrea Mowry, and I am knitting these out of Knit Pick Stroll Tweed. This is the Flagstone Heather, and this is the Down Heather. So it's a darker gray and a lighter gray. Big fan. It's really soft. I can't remember. Oh, I purchased 10, so 5 each. So far, I've put 2, so 1 of each color, and I'm on my 3rd and 4th skeins. And the ends are already woven in, just not cut off, and they are going to be here because this sweater is knit inside out. So you get my hair. So you get this faux seam. These are a bit looser up here because I had messed up and I had purled instead of knitted, so I undid it, and because you don't knit this you're slipping, so yeah, it made these a bit looser when I ran down to pull it back up again. I'm loving this. It is so calming to knit. As I said, I'm holding both the colors together, and I will say I like the purl side better, which I'm very happy about because that is going to be the outside. I can't wait for this. Honestly, this I don't see taking me long at all. This was my goal was to knit this in a month, but I didn't start this until, today's the 23rd. I started this after the last podcast, which was the 8th. I don't think I started this until maybe the 15th or something, so half a month is gone already. So I don't know if I can finish this in November, but that was my goal. Let's just make a new goal. Let's try and have this knitted before the next podcast. I do have a plane to sit on, only an hour, but okay, so those are my current quests. And that takes us to Smaug's Trove. That's right. We're doing another one. And the reason why is because my local yarn store, I have multiple, but the one that I like the best because, well, it's just my aesthetic. It is oddly expensive, but honestly, it's probably because the location, it's in downtown Dayton, so I would imagine the rent costs are much higher than the other knitting stores. But either way, so they're closing shop, and they have a lot of Brooklyn tweed. and everything was on sale. So I went, because when am I gonna get Brooklyn Tweed on sale? Probably never. So I bought a lot. Yeah, so before we get to that, let's just, oh, I have more completed objects. I completely forgot, which leads into Smaug's Trove. But, so last weekend, I decided to sew. And so I made 5 bags. So the first one I made was this, because I'm just trying to figure out dimensions, and I'm not good at that yet. So this one is this is a mess up, and sorry Mom, but I made this for you. And it is a little bit of a mess up because the bottom is very uneven. In my mind, I was like, oh, what if I did like a 2x3, and you can't connect those. So yeah, that's why this got messed up. So now I know that when doing a box bottom, they have to be even. You can't do a 2x3 and then connect them together. You end up with excess fabric on top or bottom, whichever way you're connecting them. So didn't know that. I can't visualize sewing like I can knitting. So you live and you learn. So this one's a mess up, sorry. All of them I'm still gonna do zipper pulls, but so the inside of this is just like this really nice like linen with some nups or whatever. So I really like that. Like you could cross stitch on it. So yeah. So I did this one, and then I was like, you know what? Stephanie, just get patterns. Like stop trying to free form it. So I did. And the first one turned out great. So in the last podcast, I had shown a fat quarter square, or like fat quarters that I had purchased at Aldi, and I made bags. So this is one of the fabrics, and here's the other, and then the inside is a like a silver neutral. I don't know if you can see it, but it's sparkly. The only problem with this size is that it wants you to have a size 14 zipper, 14 inches. I don't have many. I think I only had 1 or 2. I can't remember. Luckily, this pink I thought worked well with this one. And again, it needs a zipper pull. And then I made this one. Yeah, okay, so this one I had some issues with because I was trying to because the pattern was so big, I couldn't really get the whole thing. So again, there's the sleigh being cut off. So I should have thought about that when I was cutting this fabric. So I was having issues with the interfacing, and you can really see it on this side. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's wrinkly. It's very, yeah, you can see the shadows. It's really wrinkly. I don't know, like I iron and then my interfacing doesn't connect. It doesn't stick to the fabric. So then when I really try to iron it, it gets all wrinkly. Because the interfacing is like shrinking and the fabric isn't shrinking, so then it gets all wrinkly. So that's disappointing about this, but oh well. The bottom fabric is fabric that I bought for my friend's bachelorette party. It was just decoration. Well, not just. I had made a banner for her to decorate the Airbnb we were at, and then the leftovers I'd used as like the table runner. So I brought the table runner leftovers home, and I had, I think I still have even more left to do like another bottom, but I thought, you know, that could be nice. So here's another one I made. And then I made 2 little ones because, like I said, I don't have a ton of 14-inch zippers. So I have a lot of 12-inch. So I did that. So I made smaller ones, and I just I think I knocked 2 inches from the dimensions of this, which made it a lot smaller. So I have to keep that in mind, that knocking only 2 inches off Ended up making it way smaller, but this is still good. Like this can still fit a sock. So I made this one. They are the same, different zipper sizes. So here's this one. Oh, I didn't show you the inside fabric of the Christmas one. It's just like a red. It's not, it's like a shadow, like a lighter red, darker red shadow. And then, so this is more fabric from that fat quarter block, and then the inside is the same sparkly silver fabric. So the fat quarter made 2 bags, and I think I still have some. And then I had meant to put a handle on this one, and then I forgot, so I put it on just on this one. But again, this is the sparkly fabric, and I think this has, yeah, sparkly fabric on the inside too. So yeah, I'm really proud. I'm getting a lot better. Like, so here's this, I should have showed you the sides. Like, that's spot on, only slightly off. Spot on, almost spot on. So I get one side spot on and then the other side, so that one's not very good. But like this one's good. This one's good. So that's spot on. And then this one is just slightly off. Yeah, getting much better. Yeah. So Smaug's Trove, I purchased more fabric. I have a lot of fabric, but what I was running into was I don't have a lot of fabric for the inside. Like, I have a lot of really awesome patterned ones, but not a lot for the inside. So I grabbed some neutral colors. This one, which I love this. I love this. And then this one, which I really love too. The ladies that were at Joann's, 2 of them were like, oh, this is beautiful. And then they were surprised that it was just like quilter's cotton. So, big fan of this. If they had this in like a silver or a gold, I would have grabbed it in the other colors, but it was just this. And then I grabbed this one, which is a bit more colorful, but I thought this still really works. This came in other colors too, so I'm gonna have to look at my fabric stash and just see, you know, maybe I need to grab some of the other colors for this. And then for Christmas, because I do have a lot of Christmas fabric, I grabbed just small repeated prints. So cute little gingerbread, and then these like brush stroke Christmas trees. All of these I got at Joann's. 2 of them I got at remnant price. This one and this one, the really nice one. And they are all on sale. I never buy fabric at full price. No. Joann's has them on sale, or you always have a coupon, so. Oh, and then I also purchased a quilt pattern. I love this. Love it, love it, love it. So I've been thinking in the new year, I really want to challenge myself to try new things. I'm not afraid to try new things. I just really like to knit and read, and so I tend to just do that. But I really want to just learn new skills. So my goal is every month I want to try a new skill. Now, that's not all crafting, but I want to learn. I want to make a quilt. I want to needle punch as another one. I bought that felt kit. I want to do that one of the months. Honestly, I think I'll start it in December, and I'll do that in December because it's trees and it'll decorate. I want to learn how to ride a motorcycle. So that is why that's why I'm saying not crafty. So I want to do that. I also want to take a sign language course. So I know how to spell my name, Stephannie, because in 3rd grade, my student teacher, she knew sign language, and so she taught us sign language. And yeah, 3rd grade, that's like 20 years ago, I learned sign language. So I can spell my name, I know tree, I liked tree, and then it's like half of your face is like female, the other half is male or something. It's like mother, father, or father, mother, brother, sister. I don't remember, but I know that's like I think that's something. But yeah, so I want to do that. There's other things I want to do, but I thought that would be a really cool challenge, and a cool take on like your New Year's resolutions. And now let's take a little tea break before my tea gets cold. But this is in my Asterix and Obelix mug. I actually really like this, like a lot. Here they are yelling at each other, or streiten, means they're fighting. And then here they are making up. And there's Edifix. I really want to name an animal Edifix. The tea I'm drinking, I just brought it over just to show, is this right here. It's High Calf Tea's Toasted Coconut Black. This stuff is so good. It's got 140 milligrams of caffeine, which it says on here that typical black tea has 50, and then your average cup of coffee has 100. So this has a lot of caffeine, which now that I'm thinking about it, it is 6 o'clock, so it is kind of late for me to be drinking this. But if you ever see this, I highly recommend it. I think I spent $14 or $15 on it. Something like that, but well worth the money spent on it. Big fan of this. Took a little break to eat some food and refreshen my lipstick choice. Continuing on with the gluttonous purchases, let's talk books. I purchased quite a lot of pattern books because, again, these don't go on sale very often. So I grabbed Strange Brew, which I wanted ever since I saw Jody and Tracy talk about this book. They've talked about it a lot on their podcast, but they have made, I think they've made more than one thing out of here, but the Misty Mountains? Something like that? It's mountains, something. Mountain Mist. So they've made this one and I loved it. So I was like, wow, I feel like I need this book. So I purchased it. And what's really nice is that this does come with an ebook. I'm not going to show it to you because I don't want you to steal it, but it comes with an ebook download code, which is awesome because it is a little bit annoying when you buy the physical book and then you don't have the electronic copy of it. So yeah, big fan. I'm thinking of going to Staples and having them cut this and bind it like I did my Stephen West book, which I purchased the other Stephen West Knits a Shawl pattern book, and I'm thinking of doing the same thing with that one. It is annoyingly expensive because you already spend you spend more money on the physical copy than the electronic version. And then to bind it, it's honestly almost the same price as the book. I was surprised. Like, I thought it was only going to be like $5 to do that. No, it was almost the same price as the book itself. So, wonder if you can get a coupon on that at Staples. Because really, I can't imagine that it costs that much money for Staples to do it. Like, they buy the machine and then whatever. But, okay, side note. And then I also bought several just standalone patterns. First one being Bray Cap. I really hope I haven't already bought these. I don't buy standalone patterns very often, but these were on heavily discounted. So here's this one, the Bray Cap, which this one takes 2 skeins of Shelter. And it looks like... Oh, okay. I was like, did they hold them double? No, they just used 2 different colors in the pictures. So Bray Cap, which is a lace and cable beanie by Jared Flood. And then I grabbed Hallis, which is a column stitch cap by Jared Flood. This takes 1 skein of Query. And then I took Level. Really like this. I love this idea here. Level garter stitch shawl by just says Brooklyn Tweed on the cover. Does it say if the specific person did this? Yes, Nancy Whitman. And it looks like, are there 2 sizes? Yeah. So there's schematics with 2 different sizes. And then lastly, I picked up Ashland, which, even though this was on sale, so the other ones were already marked down, this one was just 20% off, this was still cheaper to buy on Ravelry. Oh, there's a shadow on my face. It was still cheaper to buy this on Ravelry, but you know, support your local stores. Even when they're going out of business, they are probably just trying to recoup. So I just decided to buy it there. I mean, it wasn't that much more. It was like maybe $1.50 more. So originally the pattern was $14 and online it was $9. So yeah, it was only 20. It was 20% off. So I didn't just buy it to buy it. This is on my wish list, and I love I love both colors, but I'm really drawn to that one. Oh, and Ashland is by Julie Hoover. So those are the individual patterns I grabbed. And then I bought Lina magazines. Yeah, plural. Because I have all of them except for number 1, which they didn't have. So I grabbed, delicately putting that down so that the phone doesn't fall, I grabbed Lina number 2, or issue 2. Issue number 5. And issue number 8. So there's a reason why I didn't own these already. And it is because they are the spring summer editions. I'm becoming more open to it, but I don't typically want to wear or knit summer garments. Some of these though, I really like. So with this one, you have the ever popular Birkin sweater. So Birkin is in issue 2. Then there is this, okay, so someone has definitely looked at this book because I don't like to open my books all the way, but this one has definitely been like opened and then pushed down. I don't like that. I like my spines to not be broken. So there is Unda, which is a brioche shawl. Big fan of that. Is this by Leslie? Yep, it's by Leslie Robinson. I think she goes by Leslie Ann Robinson. Oh. And Birds of a Feather is in here, which I bought yarn for. So I could have sworn Birds of a Feather was in a different edition. Huh. Well, I'm glad well, now I have it. I was under the impression I already owned Birds of a Feather. And then, I'm not going to go through all these, but a beautiful, just textured sweater. So, yeah. 2, 5, and 8. All of them on sale. That's not the only thing I purchased, though. I purchased yarn. Not a ton. Well, relatively speaking, we could say. So I purchased 6 skeins of Brooklyn Tweed Loft in Postcard, which I already have some of this. I love this color. To be honest, I wanted a more yellow or orange, but none of those colorways came in 6 skeins because I did purchase this with the intent. Are you kidding me? So I just realized that one of these is a different dye lot. No! And the only reason I just noticed is because the ball bands are different. Dang it, dang it, dang it. And what was kind of funny was that when I was grabbing them, I was checking the dye lots. And then I was like, oh, all of these are the same. So then I just grabbed the rest of them. Well, clearly I did not look hard enough. But I think they look close enough. Hopefully. Again, the one that's a different dye lot is what I'll leave for the ribbing. So this is going to be my Wool and Honey by Andrea Mowry, which is on my Make 9. Ooh. And if I finish my weekender in the month of November, I'm going to start my Wool and Honey. So 6 of these. And then I grabbed 2 more lofts, and these I don't know what I'm gonna make, but I really love this. This is Caribou. And then I grabbed 2 shelters because the Bray cap uses 2 shelters. So I grabbed Barn Owl. And then the other hat, again, let me grab the pattern. The other hat, Hallis, it uses 1 skein of Quarry Brooklyn Tweed. So I did purchase a black and a white. So this one's Obsidian and this one is Moonstone. One of them is going to be for me. The other one is going to be a gift. I haven't quite decided which one I'm going to keep. Originally, I was leaning towards I would keep the light gray and then gift the black. But I'm not totally sure. I love both of them. I'm just kind of trying to think what the other person would like more. If they would rather like the black or the gray. I don't know. So yeah, purchase those 2. And then the last thing I purchased at that yarn store were double points. So I grabbed, because again, they're on sale, so I grabbed a size 1 and a size 1.5. Now, that is not the only thing I purchased. I did purchase one more thing, but I had already bought it. It just delivered, and that was my sweater's quantity of Fiber Seed in Sprout DK in the colorway Rustic. I'm only going to show you one. So this is, I had ordered this, I special ordered this at Vogue Knitting Live. They didn't have the 7 skeins that I needed because this will be a Hoki Locatelli cabled cardigan pattern, or that's what it will grow up to be. I love this. So, and that's everything. And I don't think I'm coming in under 45 minutes, but that's okay. Our next segment is a novel idea, which is where I talk about the books that I have finished since the last podcast. I've not been doing a ton of reading. I've been commuting, so when I get home, there's not a lot of time. I maybe knit for a little bit and then I go to sleep. Basically, yeah, like Thursday night, I think I went to bed at 7. I was just so tired. Driving makes me really sleepy. For some people, it's like, so some people say that they take a shower in the morning because it wakes them up. I'm the opposite. Taking a shower makes me want to go to sleep. Hence why I take a shower at night. And maybe that's why, because it's habitual. When I go to sleep, or as one of the things that I do before I go to sleep is I play my DS, and it's like a trigger in my brain. It's like a switch. It knows, okay, you're playing DS, so you're gonna go to sleep, Sam. Like without fail. It's been like that even in college. In college, I would play my DS a little bit, and then I would go to sleep afterwards. So playing my DS just makes me go to sleep. But I think it's because it's like a trained thing. Okay, So the two books that I have finished, one is Sunny Volume 6. That's the last manga in that series, and it's by Taiyo Matsumoto. And I'll put a picture. Let me scoot over a little bit. I gave it 5 stars. Just read it. If you like manga, or you think you may like manga, if you like, I don't know. Okay, so one of my best friends, she described it well. She hasn't read the series, but when I told her about it and she looked it up, she's like, oh, it's by this author, or artist, and she was like, he does, gosh, I can't remember how she described it, but it's like, it's a very realistic style of storytelling. It's really good. Just read it. If your library has it, get it. It's really good. And then the second book I read was American Panda by Gloria Chow. This one I gave 3 stars. It was entertaining to read, but some parts of it I found a little bit odd, and then just in general, frustrating, which I think was kind of the point of the story. So American Panda is about a Chinese American who is kind of straddling her traditional Chinese family with American values or traits or what have you. And so her parents had disowned her brother for something that he had done, and so she doesn't have her brother in her life. Her parents pushed her to, be the best that she can be, so she graduated early. She's off to college, and her mom comes over every week to do her laundry because she wants her to study and all this stuff, very traditional, don't let anything get in the way of you being a doctor kind of thing. And our main character, she has, she's a germaphobe. So I know that that's probably not the right term, but she thinks about germs, and she washes her hands. She has hand sanitizer all the time. So she's just stressed because she doesn't want to be a doctor, and she doesn't want to let her parents down because, her parents have sacrificed so much for her to get to where she is. So she has a very hard time because she appreciates her parents, but also feels suffocated by them and by the culture. And so I'm part German, and I don't have to straddle a culture like that because, can you say that it's like Western or something? I don't know, but it's not the same. It's not the same. So reading the book, nothing in my life is like that. Maybe that's being a little over dramatic, but I don't have the same problems as our main character does. She, if something she didn't like something, she didn't really speak up. She was pretty shy. She was, taught that you don't talk back to your parents, you don't talk back to elders, you don't disagree, and I just found that part really difficult because stuff like that makes me really, really mad when someone isn't allowed to have an opinion because they're younger or less experienced or less knowledgeable. That really annoys me. And I felt like that was brought up in the book, and I know it had its reasons, but I listened to it on audio, and I listened to it during my commute, and I was just mad. I was just mad that our main character wouldn't stand up for herself, and I think that has to do with that I'm your typical American. I'm loud, I have strong opinions, and I want others to have the same ability to stand up and all of that. So I couldn't relate to her because I just would never be in those situations. I think also too, it is a YA book, and I find that contemporary YA, chick lit YA, I just don't relate to it as much anymore, because like there's a part in the book where she's embarrassed because she says a comment about farting or something, I don't know, or like poop as a baby or something, but it's something like that, and she was like, oh, I can't believe I said that, and I'm like, who cares? You're just trying to be funny, you're trying to be relatable, like, that's not embarrassing or anything. I don't know. So yeah, there's just like parts of that I just didn't relate to, but in general, I enjoyed the novel. The beginning part where you're introduced to another Asian doctor, I just didn't understand like why that needed to be brought up. Like, all it did was, oh, there's this other person that it's like she's reflecting on her life and that she could turn into this miserable person because here's an example of it. Like, it was almost like fall in your lap scenario. So I didn't like that part, and really that was a big part of why I knocked it down a star, because I was like, that's ridiculous. It's irritating that you just like put this random character in, like right smack dab at the beginning, to be like, hey, this is what you could be if you don't speak your mind. You'll be this miserable person who is exactly like you, that went to be a doctor, hates being a doctor, hates germs, has a hard time talking to people. Like, I don't know. I didn't like that part. So, 2 books that I finished, which puts me, I think I have to read 8 more books to hit my Goodreads goal, which is kind of depressing because I was ahead for almost the entire year. Probably until November, I was ahead. And now I'm behind. So I need to listen to some more audiobooks, and I think that will put me, I think I'll definitely hit it, especially with the commuting. So that's finished with a novel idea, and really life updates. I don't have much to talk about. I did want to mention, and I'd meant to bring this up earlier, like many podcasts ago, but I made a playlist for when I ran my half marathon, and I thought I would share it with you guys. So if you wanted to listen to what I listened to, it's got a lot of different, it's not that it has a lot of different styles, but there's a lot of different languages. So there's English, there is German, there is Japanese, there is Korean, there is Spanish, and I think there's Italian. So I think there's 6 different languages of music. I love listening to songs in other languages. So if you want to give that a listen, it's on Spotify. I think it's literally just called Steph's Running Playlist. I'll try to link it below if I can. And then yeah, my new job has been amazing. I don't know if it's just because it's new. Other than commute, I'm loving it. I love the downtown vibe. I work on the 25th floor, and so I have a view of the new Crew Stadium being built, which is awesome. So I can see that, and that's not the only thing I can see. Like, I can see Columbus, which is just really cool. So yeah, so I'm on the 25th floor of the main building. There's multiple buildings. They're connected via skywalks. I'm connected to the convention center of Columbus. So there's always stuff happening in the convention center. It's really exciting. So I think Thursday, I went on a walk with my friends, and I guess there was some sort of dancing competition. So there was a ton of like dance outfits, and it's a convention center, so big stuff happens. So that was really cool. Did I say there's a food court there? So there's the food court. There's also something called the North Market, which is really awesome. It's like this big building that has a bunch of vendors inside of it, like permanent vendors. I don't know how often they swap out, but it's like a lot of times companies start out at the North Market before they become like a brick and mortar store. So there's an ice cream that was started in Columbus that's called Jenny's Ice Cream, and it is very popular and it's really, really good. And she has since expanded into other states, which I find really interesting because like I was in Nashville and we're at a music festival, and there was Jenny's ice cream there, and so I'm like, oh yes, ice cream. So I go up in line, I'm like, oh, I know what this is. And the guy that was was hawking the ice cream, he's like, oh, you need to try this ice cream. And I like let him do a spiel, and then I was like, yeah, I know all about this, like I'm from Columbus, Ohio. And he just was like so excited. He ended up giving me free ice cream because he was just, I mean, not all of it was free, but he gave me an extra scoop of ice cream, which I really appreciated because that was a 32-mile bike ride we went on. Ugh. My legs were jelly after that. Like literally getting off my bicycle to walk was just the most bizarre feeling. But anyway, so yeah, Jenny's Ice Cream is one of the places that started there. So yesterday on my drive home, before I hit the road, I grabbed a pretzel from a stall called Brezel, which I thought was really cool. That's the word for pretzel in German. Yeah, so there's just so much right there. The walk is kind of enjoyable. So there's about a half a mile walk from where I park my car to getting into the building. And then what else? I'm gonna start apartment. Like I've looked online for apartments, so now I'm just starting to visit. So doing that, and yeah, the new job itself is very interesting. I'm starting to get a hand on what it is. There's just a lot involved, and since it's the holidays, it's a little bit like we're in a unique situation where not everything is how you normally do it. I will say it's made for a very busy first 2 weeks. I really have not had any downtime, which is it's so nice. My last job towards the end, especially right now, like October, the end of September, and then again November, there's just so much downtime. You're just not doing anything. And it's really just because we work on like a 6-week time frame, so we're 6 weeks ahead. So, in October we're dealing with Thanksgiving and our customers being out of the office or being away from work. So I get that, but it's so boring. And then you're just doing the same things over and over and over. And when I'm gathering, yeah, like my job is the same, but the requests are different. So I'm really looking forward to doing better and like contributing to my team. So right now, obviously they're all training me, which, hey, I've been there. I've trained so many people, and I know it takes a lot of time out of your own job. So, if you train someone, if you have 8 hours of work, training someone cuts into that 8 hours. So I appreciate them helping me, and I'm just like ready to just do stuff on to have my own projects, because I'm not afraid to just jump in and do stuff. I don't like to be handheld, and I don't like to have if I need to do something, I don't want to watch someone do it 5 times. Like I want to watch someone do it once, and then I just want to do it. 'Cause I'm not afraid to fail, but also I don't fail often. That sounds really vain, and I don't mean it to come off vain. I'm just I'm not afraid. And I feel like afraid's not the right word. But either way, am I going to keep this in the podcast? I don't know, because I'm probably at over an hour. But I need to be done at this point. So thank you so much for sitting in with the podcast. If you're one of the new people that have joined my Ravelry group, thank you so much. That makes me happy that there's, I think, 3 people plus me. So we are a quad of people, which is awesome. To entice you to join. When we hit 200 subscribers, there is going to be a giveaway. I'm not sure what it's going to be. exactly, but my goal is to have an indie dyed yarn from Ohio. So I'm thinking Destination Yarns, because she does yarn that is based on a destination, and she is currently in Cleveland. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, and then probably some stitch markers or something. And I'm thinking of also sewing you a bag. I know I'm not very good at it, but I still think that would be kind of fun. I appreciate when people are trying to like knit something or sew something, and I feel like everyone can always use more project packs, right? Or does that also or do you also get to a point where there's too many? I don't know, I'm not at that point yet. So, okay, we need to be done. All right, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you guys after the holidays. Happy Thanksgiving for anyone that celebrates. And if you don't, I hope you have a fabulous end of Thanksgiving and bring on the holidays. All right, bye guys.